it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The pomp proceeders mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome back to Rogue Soul, where tonight is the winning report. We are winning all of the time. We just don't always take the time to tap in and notice it. So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to look at all of the things that are happening. We're going to remember how our soul is eternal and nothing else is. And so we already won to begin with, but also when we can stay present with also our soul, heart, mind, and body here in this place, we win even more. And so we're going to do that too by bringing consciousness to all of these events, by understanding them from a certain lens, by seeing through any sort of deceit or manipulation that's intended for us, and by holding the highest outcome in our hearts for all of these situations that we'll encounter in our world, in our society, in our culture tonight on the winning report. So let's get into it. And I was not going to start on that screen, that's for sure. But we'll get there. We're going to actually start instead by inviting you to roguesoul.org, where everything I do is I am teaching a class coming up very shortly here in September. It's just a few weeks away. It's a massive offering that I get to share with everybody. I am called to do these things. I'm called to do the spiritual work I do. I'm called to teach the classes I teach. So I don't just make them up. I could make a billion classes for you. I'm a master teacher. I have a master's degree in teaching itself with 14 years plus experience teaching 6 to 60-year-olds from public school to private school to college all around the world. And so I could make a class on anything and it would be great, but I'm called to teach certain classes like this class you'll see when you click on Become a Healer on the main page here, which is Heart-Centered Healer. You could be a heart-centered healer if that's what you feel called to do. And so I'm sharing direct, applicable, let's get into it. Here's how you actually do energy healing, heart level healing, spiritual healing, and work with people's energy fields in the highest, most protected way possible. So that if you take this course, you're able to just step into doing that for people. Even during the class, you'll be doing that. We'll have practicums. We'll be working on actual people and doing this work. And so it is for beginners. It is for people who already have some spiritual healing work. It is for anybody who feels called to step either deeper into their practice or into their practice at all of service. And so I've never offered such a high level set of information to people in my time teaching, both spiritual, mental, emotional, all of the classes that I've taught. I never have been called to do this. And so I find it to be really amazing. We have a really great group of people that stepped up to do this so far. And I'd love for you to do so too, if it calls to you. So that's coming up in September. Come check it out on roguesoul.org. Also, my books are here. Any of the other one-on-one sessions and teachings I offer can be scheduled through the site. If you click on schedule, it will bring you to my Calendly, and Calendly is just my scheduling, mechanism. So all of the things I offer are here. You just click on the one you want, you schedule it, and we're good. That's all at roguesoul.org. Thank you all for going there. Sign up for the email list while you're there. You can also go to rogueways.substack.com, and this is where all my writing is. I am a philosopher. I am a teacher, as I've said. I am a scholar, and I am a spiritual teacher as well. And so a lot of my information here on Substack is free for anyone who subscribes, and you can subscribe at the free level to get access to all of this. I write about physical health, mental health, emotional health, wellness, philosophy, esoteric, occult, history, hidden history, alternative history, all sorts of things that interest me and my readers. And I also do channeled messages here through the spiritual ancestors. They speak through me to you. And so if you want those messages, you can subscribe at the paid level. Those messages tell you things far ahead of time that are happening on Earth and why they're happening. They tell me that too. They're all new to me as well as they come through. So you get access to those at the paid level at rogueways.substack.com. Thank you for being there, for supporting the show, for sharing value back. If you find value in what I do, that is the best way to support me and what I do here on Rogue Soul. So thank you, all of you there on Substack. And we'll get into it. The White House has tapped top RFK Jr. deputy as the acting CDC director. This is Jim O'Neill. He's going to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Deputy Secretary, I should say, as the acting head of the CDC after tensions over vaccine policies led to the resignation of several agency leaders. O'Neill's selection may aid HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in his mission to change federal vaccine policies following the departure of former Director Susan Monarez, who resisted these changes. He served in the George W. Bush administration, and he's a close ally of Peter Thiel. So, of course, we're going to get perhaps some more technocracy in here, as has been coming in at all angles of this administration. But we'll also perhaps get some more sanity around vaccines, injections, and what we're really hoping for is dropping of all mandates, that there is just no situation in which you can mandate people to get these injections, not for public school settings, not for work settings, not for any reasons. And we'll see if that ever comes. In the meantime, we have had a lot of success just by RFK Jr. being there, a lot of big wins. But, any ally of Peter Thiel is a questionable person, and that any technocrat is too. So we'll see what goes forward with this. We'll probably have some wins and then some things we really got to keep our eye on with that technocratic BS. So that's happening. In the further degradation of what is supposedly the Catholic faith, the Vatican is hosting an LGBTQ plus event. Whether we like that or not, whether it makes us feel warm and fuzzy or not, whether we, think that LGBTQ plus people should be treated like everyone else, which is obviously true. It is also very strange to me that this religion continues to go against its own words and its own holy texts in order to pander to or cater to this population of people that by no means has to, feel welcome in the Catholic Church. No one does. I don't. I'm not gay. So I don't know why you'd want to force, that into existence. I don't know why you wouldn't just find, a religion or a philosophy or a set of beliefs that fits your identity and who you are, of which there's many. There's many of them. Universal Unitarian being one primary one that is accessible to all people of any walk or any race, any ethnicity, any background, any sexuality, any orientation, any identity at all. So why Catholicism specifically? It's always been interesting to me. I find it to be ridiculous, and I find it to be even more ridiculous that the Vatican is actually doing that. It really, again, whether you like it or not is not the question. The question is is it even a church anymore? Is it the Catholic Church anymore? Is the Vatican upholding the Catholic Church? And the answer is no, it's not. This has long been a tenet of, especially Catholicism, that the Bible is very explicitly states that you are not to be gay. So whether you like that or not, that is that religion. So it's weird. It's continues to happen with the Catholic Church. They continue to just chip away at what is actually the church. And there we go. There is. I'm sure it makes some people very, very happy. Congratulations to them. CAM. What is CAM? The Combat Anti-Semitism Movement launches a new Report It app to document anti-Semitic incidents in real time. Man, these things are always the same. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. We can talk about race or age or, orientation or, it being Jewish in this case, or just anything at all. And as soon as you have a reporting hotline or a way to report, supposed crimes or harms against people that are hate crimes or these types of things, always it both ramps up the numbers. This is the only reason why they ever really do it, is they want to ramp up the numbers. And it also consists of mostly hoaxes and lies. So no one's saying anti-Semitism doesn't exist. No one's saying there isn't hatred for the Jewish people. That's obviously true. So there's hatred for any type of people you can name in the world. So that exists, that's for sure. But just this is what happens. So, we've done this over and over again in society. We're like, here, report hate crimes here, report this type of crime here. And then people do it and they lie. They make things up. A bunch of people do it over and over and over and over again because they really want everyone to take this seriously, right? It's not even like this thing where they're trying to, I'm going to go be a liar today. They're in their minds, they're reporting something that is way bigger of an issue than anyone's ever realized. And so they're helping draw attention to it, but they also are lying. They are making things up. So we get all these reports of things that never happened. And so our numbers go up and they go, whoa, anti-Semitism went up 3,000% this year. It's like, well, but it didn't objectively change at all. You just made an app so people could easily report it. So we'll expect that, because if we're logical thinkers, we'll see that what has happened before will happen again in these types of situations, and that's predictable. That's just being smart. A trans Minneapolis shooter, Robin Westman. This is the news that everyone's been talking about, the sad news of the week. Robin Westman killed 2 children and injured, I think it's up to 14 more, some adults, mostly children, in a shooting that seems to have actually taken place. Again, that doesn't mean that it wasn't constructed, created, pushed to happen, encouraged in some way by agents in various settings. That's all very possible and maybe even likely. Either way, it does seem to have occurred. And I know we're always asking that question because we know some things don't occur and are said to occur. And so we always have to ask. This does, in my opinion, so far seem to have occurred. It definitely is been very interesting too. It has created a lot of divide, especially on the identity of the shooter, Robin Westman, who prior to this went by Robert Westman. Robin being the feminized chosen name of this trans individual. So this is a white looking trans identifying individual who was born sexually male and underwent who knows what exactly to transition into being a female, or at least started choosing to present and identify as female at some point. So that much we know for sure. They also, according to the New York Post, mused about slaughtering, quote, filthy Zionist Jews in a Sikh journal before deadly Catholic school massacre. And there was more than that going on as well. But it's interesting because at the outset, we always have, especially the leftists, the liberals, the people who are sort of identifying on that side of things, they're like, oh, this is Republican. It's a Republican. It's a white male. They're actually technically right. Prior to transitioning, this person is a white male, but this person is not by any means a Republican. At the very least, this person is deeply mentally ill. That we can know just by the fact that they killed children. That's just obvious. You don't need a psychologist to tell you that if somebody harms a child, they're mentally ill. They're psychologically, mentally, emotionally ill people. Just automatically, it's just people are like, you don't know, you can't diagnose them. Like, I'm not. I'm just saying I know there is mental illness there. It's obvious. It's so silly to pretend that we need someone to tell us that. So that is true. They are sick. They're definitely sick. This is a sick person, not well. Definitely was a male, at least at some point, and definitely presents as white and hates Jewish people. Not a Republican trait in general. In general, if you were going to guess, you'd be almost 100% accurate to say Republicans love Israel and Jewish people. So definitely not a Republican trait. Not generally Republicans shooting children too. So far, the track record is deeply mentally ill people, a lot of them trans, and often shooting specifically Christian children. So hatred towards the church seems to be one thing that's going on. Trans often, or at least mental illness, and then, deep unwellness and this external loci of motivation, which is what we call people who blame everything but themselves, right? This is the victim mentality. This is the victim culture that we have. All of those things tend to be going on. Often there's SSRIs too. Often there's these medications that have never been proven to be more effective than taking walks and talking to people while eating healthy. They've also never been proven to be more effective than, spending time in nature. So just very simple things that are far more effective than these SSRIs, which have a whole host of negative side effects. This is for 100% of people. If you're out there like, no, but for me, see what it is it's like this. No, this is just people are served better, have a higher recovery rate, higher outcome, are medically better off when they do those things instead of take SSRIs, no matter their pathology. So, we know that these people are often on SSRIs. These SSRIs often have one of the side effects is violent thoughts, violent inclinations, self-harm, harming others. So it's like, again, I don't know why people think that's some kind of a hidden conspiracy theory. That's on the insert. We know it. This is a fact. You can't even say it's not true. So All of this is true. And these people were trying to say this is Republican. And I don't know. I don't know how many people actually care. And we're sitting there going, oh, it's got to be a Republican white male. But like, oh, I think a lot, that could be manipulated. It could be a little bit artificial in the algorithms, but it's at least there. And then when it turned out to be a trans person, these people are like, how dare you? How dare you take this opportunity to, decry trans people? That's what the Minneapolis mayor came out and said. Anybody who's using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community has lost their sense of common humanity. Okay, well, first of all, no one's villainizing a community by pointing out the person is trans and wondering, what else went into that. Because again, whether you like it or not, quite often people who identify as trans have many other emotional and mental issues going on. Whether you like it, but it's true of most people, to be honest. It's just people, but it's often true of people who identify as trans, especially younger girls who identify as trans. So, not bad to ask these questions. And nobody's villainizing anyone to say so. To describe reality doesn't villainize. And nobody's saying, oh, trans people are going to shoot children. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's villainizing anyone. But as soon as you pointed out this person is trans, it turned into this. It turned from trying to peg it on an identity, Republican white male, to how dare you even notice the identity. Now that it doesn't serve us any longer, we would like you to not notice the identity. It was going to serve us, we thought, so we wanted to highlight it. And then when that turned, we don't want you to think about it ever again. In fact, we're going to get angry at you and call you a hateful person if you talk about it. See how that narcissistic reversal works? So really unfortunate, super sad. Obviously, pray for and send love to the family of the people who just lost a child. Those are the worst things you could ever experience. And then, of course, we're now all talking about gun control. Look at this person's things. They wrote all over their guns in paint markers. Born to something. Forced to win. 6 million wasn't enough. That's pretty explicit. Some of these are in really intense script. They're all in different script, which is also often a sign of deep mental unwellness. Israel must fall. Live like a phoenix, we rise from the ashes for the win. Extra Jew gas. One of these inscriptions on his guns or his weaponry or his magazine said, kill Trump. Here it is, kill Donald Trump. And so again, not a Republican thing to say or do. I mean, there's Republicans who hate Trump, but like probably not a Republican if you're writing that on your guns. I happen to think if you write anything on your guns, there's something maybe a little bit odd. Like you love your gun a bit too much. You're too obsessed with your gun. You need some distance between you and your gun. Like, why are you writing inscriptions on your bullets, your guns? It seems to be a very leftist thing to do lately. This person had diagrams of the church and the pews. It's very thought out, very well thought out. He says, I don't want to do it to spread a message. I do it to please myself. I do it because I'm sick. Because he's talking about killing the children in this journal that he kept. People are like, it's a manifesto. It's much more like it's just a journal of a raving, deeply unwell person. He says, I don't think I could just take myself out. I would need to do something with my final act. So he knew he was going to kill himself or herself, depending on who you're talking to in this scenario and which identity they want to use to their advantage or lack thereof. Knew he was going to kill himself and decided to take out children at the same time for some reason. So many weapons, so many magazines. People, again, talk about like this is like a right-wing thing to just stockpile weapons and guns. Like, look at this person. He's a Jew-hating, Trump-hating psychopath stockpiling these guns. So pretty disturbing stuff. Very, very deeply unwell people out there. There is something we'll talk about that is a surefire way to stop somebody who's a psychopath who's coming at you or your children or anybody nearby. And it's being a well-trained armed person. And on the contrary, all of the, leftist rhetoric around this has gone straight back to ban guns, ban bullets, ban guns, ban bullets, ban guns, ban guns, ban guns. Doesn't matter that 100% of time throughout history that has only caused more violence, more murder, more crime. They don't care. They're just not reasonable people. 100% of the time. Never a single situation where removing the guns did anything but that. Then, in a large percentage of those situations, the people were later slaughtered by their government. Neither of those outcomes is one we want. There is no good outcome from banning guns. It doesn't stop people like this. It's just so obvious and proven true time and time again in reality. So that has gone back to this. This person also said, F you pile of sticks in the English old language. I don't know. I said it on Twitter and they like tried to ban me and I had to fight for it. So I was quoting this person. I was saying, I wonder why they said that if they're trans. It's an interesting thing to say. Are they self-hating? You know, do they not think that they're gay? That's sometimes true of trans people. I know a ton of people just heard that and said, she doesn't even know you don't have to be gay to be trans. You're gay. Definitely gay. I don't know why you have to be in denial about it. It's really simple. Nobody cares anymore. You can just get over yourself and everything will feel better. Steven Crowder tweets, the final text of the manifesto, again, not really a manifesto so much as a journal entry, details the premeditated nature of the Minnesota church shooter's heinous act. 5 days left. Nothing I want to do in these days except prep for the mission. The range should only take a few hours, then it's back home to rot. All I do is fall apart, and then I break, and then I die. Broken. Shouldn't all I feel be broken? Shouldn't I die? And I don't know. A lot of times people feel like this after their surgeries, too. I don't know if this person had transition surgery, top or bottom or otherwise. I'm not sure. But feeling like you're rotting is actually a common outcome of getting these transition surgeries, especially with, what do they call it, a neo-vagina or something disgusting that literally is rotting for the rest of your life. You are literally rotting. So you don't just feel like you're rotting, you are rotting. He has satanic inscriptions as well. Lots of satanic inscriptions. So to go shoot up a church makes sense if you think you're a Satanist or if you actually are a Satanist. That would be your primary target. But it's enough to just look at the hate for the church, which we've talked about many times on this show. And I'm not even in church and I don't even like churches so much. I do as a community center, but I'm not myself just like, yeah, let's go to church. Like, I don't really care, except that I appreciate that there are places where people create communities still. And especially places where people create community in which they, try to reach up to their highest nature, connect with God or something, beautiful like that. That's great. But we've talked about it so many times on the show that this culture we're in deeply, deeply hates the church, deeply hates Christianity, doesn't hate Islam, doesn't hate Buddhism, doesn't hate, Hindu, doesn't hate any other type of spirituality or religion except Christianity. Deeply hates it. But for whatever reason you might think that is, whether it's just because this was primarily a Christian nation and they're just trying to tear the nation apart, or because there's something about Jesus Christ himself, he's the man who, which is what they want to deter people from. I don't know, but it's no accident that you can mock and desecrate Jesus over and over again in every type of pop culture, any sort of artistic venue or anything you want, movies, whatever, video games, doesn't matter. But you can't do it to anyone else. Can't even do it to Wiccans or anything. Just not. So it's not surprising whether this person thought they were a Satanist or just liked satanic symbolism because it's so cool and edgy to hate Christianity. It could go either way, but it definitely didn't help stop this person from wanting to shoot up a church full of children. That's definitely true. And so, again, what can help prevent this? Well, there's one thing that is proven to prevent this, and it is people with guns. So you're like, but that person had a gun and they shot it. Well, yeah, that person's deeply unwell. But who's going to stop the person with a gun except people with guns? You've got to match firepower. You're sitting ducks, literally, if you don't have a gun. So I'm a big promoter of teaching children firearm safety and how to shoot and how to take care of guns and what they're all about. I'm a big promoter of adults, if you never have, learning how to use a gun, going to ranges, taking classes, perhaps getting your concealed carry license and being a responsible gun owner. I'm a big promoter of that. I appreciate that. I've got lots of guns myself And I like to practice using them so that I feel up to date, up to snuff in case anything ever happens. God forbid it does. Might never happen. That'd be great to never use it. That's my ideal. And then if I really need to, I'm definitely ready to and prepared to and willing to. And that's what stops it. So here's an article that's come out. It says, Watchdog Group says the FBI undercounts incidents in which armed civilians stop active shooters. Undercounts them. So when they say to you, like, oh, you're much more likely to have your gun turned against you and used against you, you're not very likely to stop anything with your gun. And, they try to discount that. Well, they've actually been fudging the numbers all along. And actually, there was some massive amount of people who stopped criminals because they had a gun. And if someone in that church had a gun, then they might not have lost 2 children. If someone out on the street where this person was shooting through the windows, this sick transgender individual was shooting through the windows, if someone out on the street had a gun, then this person wouldn't have continued with this. People wouldn't have been hurt. We've seen it over and over again in churches and otherwise, where when they have armed guards or armed people with guns, it doesn't have to be a guard. It's just a person with a concealed carry willing to stand near an entrance and say, yeah, I'll shoot someone if we need to. Like, just that's what it takes. People know exactly where to go to shoot people if they don't want to get shot themselves or stopped, and it's gun-free zones. So according to the FBI, civilians stopped just 14 out of 374 active shooter cases. But the CPRC, a nonprofit data watchdog on crime issues, said it uncovered 561 incidents during the same period, with armed citizens stopping 202 of them, or 36%. So the FBI said 3.7% of cases involve someone stopping a crime with their own weapon. But it's actually 36%. 36% from 3%. That's a massive. They are deeply trying to hide from you how effective it is for you to be armed and able to use your weapon. By all means, do it. Take advantage of what you have available. Or don't if you don't feel comfortable. At the very least, have pepper gas and pepper spray and maybe a Kubotan on you, something. And if you feel like, taking it under your purview to go get trained and pick up a gun, then by all means, do it well. Teach your children to too. They say it's the number one thing that prevents children from being shot is knowing how to handle a gun, because children often find guns. You can't stop it. No matter what life you give them, no matter how you set it up, it's going to happen someday. So if they go, whoa, deep respect for this thing. This is a murder weapon. It can kill me. It's an accident-prone weapon. I'm going to treat it with all this respect. I know how to handle it. I know how to check it for safety. I know how to use it if I need to. That's the number one way to prevent them from being injured by guns. This has been known forever. It's just the people who don't want you to know. And why don't they want you to know? Well, look at history. You can see, as we've already talked about, why that might be. So move on from that sad story on to other things. This is very interesting too. This is high THC cannabis is linked to psychosis and addiction. This is a systematic review of nearly 100 different studies, finding that high THC cannabis is linked to negative mental health outcomes, including psychosis, schizophrenia, and cannabis use disorder. I don't know what cannabis use disorder is, but I'm guessing it's addictive behavior or abuse of cannabis. Which is definitely a thing, even though it's like the least addictive of the drugs. The review highlighted that higher concentrations of THC increase risks, emphasizing the need for stronger research to inform healthcare providers. There are benefits. There are benefits for anxiety, for depression, for all sorts of things, for cancer, for all sorts of issues. There's tons of benefits for THC and all the different terpenes. But it is true, it always has been true, actually, that marijuana is linked to these things. Marijuana is actually a hallucinogen, which most people don't know for some reason. It's very, very mild. So when you're, smoking regular weed, especially from prior to like the past 15 years or so, it's not that big of a high, right? And it still can be for people, but it's pretty tame, probably good. You move on to like concentrating it in any way, and you have hash, or you have crystals, or you've got edibles, and now you're getting up into higher doses. And yeah, it's always been linked to, some people have psychotic breaks. Some people go into schizophrenia and other types of psychoses. The prevailing idea around this is that you were sort of always prone, and you were maybe headed that way, and you were maybe going to start expressing schizophrenia or these other psychoses anyway. And then the, high dose THC sort of just kicked it into gear. That's the sort of prevailing idea, because it just doesn't happen that often, but it happens enough that it's noticeable to trend and it's a risk. And so, now that we're in this world of just like ridiculously high levels of THC, even just in regular buds, you're just going to smoke some fucking green. I'm trying not to swear anymore on the show, but here we go. It just comes out, even then, super high. You don't have to have an edible. You don't have to have, shatter or wax. You don't have to do these things in order to get to high THC. You just smoke buds with really high THC. So it is dangerous, actually. And I just say this, because I came from a life where I was smoking like an eighth a day for years. And it's just like a heavy marijuana user for years. And now I don't use it at all. And so I'm a fan. I enjoy it. I only don't use it because I don't need to. I don't want to. I just don't care about it. I just don't need to. And so that's it. But I want people to know, because everybody looks at weed at THC as, just totally safe for all people all the time, no matter what. And it's not. So it's worth mentioning. It's a really interesting set of studies, and keep it in mind. Oh, Burning Man, the absolute sold out nonsense gathering of people who are going to do way too many drugs. Lots of rapes are going to happen. People die. I mean, this thing is a shit show every year, and it has been for most of my life. It was once something else. Yes, we can all stop saying that now. Everybody knows it was once something else. Everything is something else until it becomes what it is. But what it has become is absolute garbage. And this year, 2025, just like last year, different ways, but just like last year, Burning Man turned into hell on earth. Last year, it was that mud pit that lasted for like weeks or something. People couldn't move. People couldn't get out. People were stuck. People didn't have food. It was just so awful. This year, it's freak thunderstorms, and the Orgy Dome was destroyed by strong winds. Also, other things destroyed by the winds, but winds are just ripping people's tents and stuff away and just throwing it to the wind. And who knows if they'll ever find it again. Lots of thunder and lightning, and not maybe quite as bad in some ways as last year, but pretty bad. So you're going to one of the most hostile environments on earth to do as many drugs as you can with no hydration and no food and not good infrastructure and no places to poop and pee. And then intense weather comes and just destroys it. And you do this for what? I don't know. I don't know what people just think they're getting an identity when they go to Burning Man. They think they're stepping into like some sort of spiritual or some sort of like earth mama or like crunchy like lifestyle. And it's very tech too. It's like a lot of tech bros and tech stuff. So people think they're just like, I don't know, getting into that. It's garbage. Just go camping, dude. Go camping and safely take whatever medicinal nature's gifts sorts of things might assist you in your relaxation and healing as you do so. And you'll have a way better time. I promise you. So stupid. So sorry if you like Burning Man. It's disgusting and I hate it. I just feel it energetically too. Just despite all the logical things I just gave you of why Burning Man is silly, just feel it. Like just tap into it. It's like, oh, it's disgusting. It's all ego-driven garbage. It's like the worst of the ego-driven garbage. Pathologically love and light meets ego-driven garbage meets absolute narcissism meets tech nightmare in the middle of the most hostile environment possible for no reason at all. There's nothing spiritual about this. It's so stupid. All right, moving on. FDA launches updated COVID shots, but limits access for some kids and adults. So they were like, oh yeah, we're going to totally cancel the COVID shots. We are, but here's some new COVID shots. FDA has approved updated COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer, Moderna, and Novavax, but has limited access for many. The new shots are available for all seniors, but younger adults and children are only eligible if they have high-risk health conditions. If you're still seeking this, I'm not sure why. The fact that they're giving it to elderly people is pretty disturbing considering their eugenicist background. So let's just see through that too. Because we're winners and that's what we do. California, the Republican leader of the California Assembly is introducing a resolution to split California into 2 states. This is the oldest movement in the book. Washington has had this movement. Idaho has had, Oregon has had this movement. They've all joined together and made Cascadia. And Cascadia wants to secede, not just from other states or like from the United States itself. So all of these like, redistricting, re-changing up the map, things have been around for a while, but California now is proposing staying part of the United States, but, drifting into 2 separate parts. And it would be one blue and one red. And it's actually really smart. And it's actually how every state should go. You just take your little pockets of blue and they can be their own state. And then all the surrounding red, which is every state that even has any blue, can be red. If you actually look at the map of the United States, it's overwhelmingly red. There's just a few urban pockets that are blue, and they do have high population. And so it matters. But they absolutely cannot live on their own. So let them be their own territories and states, and then let them rely on the red states to give them literally everything they need, except access to ports, which then the red states would be really down on, actually. But this is a real thing they're calling on. I actually hope they do it, because this map you might see on your screen now if you're looking is exactly how it is. All the yellow is red and all the blue is blue. Blue states. So there's still a lot of red mixed into these blue areas, I'll say. You just get right outside the big cities and there's just lots of red. And you get back into some cities, but there's just so many cities clustered along the coast here and so many big populations that they're like, yeah, okay, just have it all. You're blue. And then we'll be over here. We're red. We're the mountains. We're the water. We're the agriculture in California, if there is any, most of it. And so we'll just take all this over here and be red. So it's really interesting that they're actually doing this in the Republican California Assembly, or sorry, just the California Assembly. So Republican Assembly leader plans to unveil this proposal at a Wednesday press conference, calling it a response to Gavin Newsom's push to redraw congressional maps. So Gavin Newsom is redrawing the congressional maps in response to everybody else redrawing their, especially Texas, redrawing their congressional maps in order to favor Republicans. So he's going to do it to favor Democrats, which they're already favored in California. It's pretty silly. This is how petty politics can get. So that's what they're doing in California. RFK says to medical schools it's time to ramp up nutrition training. If they do it, fantastic. I was just in a hospital with someone and they're like, going through all sorts of stuff. And they're like, yeah, here's some milkshake, some Pepsi. And it's ridiculous. And, I remember asking my doctor a little while ago, one of the many doctors I've gone through in quick succession in the past handful of years, like, what kind of diet do you suggest for people with Hashimoto's and autoimmune issues and whatever? And she looked me dead in the eyes and said, there's no evidence that diet has any effect on it at all. And I was like, well, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard someone say out loud. So I will definitely not be back, but thank you for your input. But it's true. And when doctors are being trained, they have like one small class for 1 quarter that is sort of nutrition based, and that's it. And all the years, this is the root of our health. It's our nutrition, and then it's our environment, right? Those are like the 2 things, like what's inside and what's outside of you. And they spend no time on either of them. So yeah, it'd be a good win for us. We'll take this as a win if that actually happens. And thanks to RFK if it does. Speaking of RFK, says the 60 largest tech companies will permit Americans to access their personal health data monetized without permission for years. You're going to be able to see by next year all of your health records on your cell phone. Sure, great, okay. I have all my health records anyway, because I just get them when I have that. Like when I've learned that it's harder to get them afterwards, so just get them right then. Get copies of all your tests, get copies of everything, and just take it home with you and just keep a file of your stuff, right? No matter if you have no health concerns or great health, bad health, whatever. Just take it, just keep it. But this is brewing up, I'm sure, to interact with the technocracy in some way, perhaps obvious ways. Perhaps when this happens, a lot of people's health data will be breached and they'll cry foul, and then we'll need extra security, and we'll all have to have iris scans or some other invasive thing go on. So, watch for the technocracy in this. Absolutely. And otherwise, like, sure, have access to your medical records that you already should have had in your hands anyways. Have it on your phone for some reason, if that suits you. The European Union auto groups have pushed for change to EU auto groups push for change to no longer feasible. This is a horribly written. What they're saying is the European Union says it's no longer feasible to hit their CO2 targets, right? They have this whole obsession with carbon that doesn't make any sense, but they're pretending that it does. And so they want people to have like only electric vehicles, which doesn't make sense either because it still has a massive carbon output on all sides of the equation. You just don't breathe it in directly right there, but it's like on all other sides of the equation. And but for some reason they're pretending. It's just none of it ever made sense. But people are also seeing through it, not buying it, literally not buying electric cars, not buying it. And so they're just not going to hit their goals. They wanted to really push everyone into this. And people were like, no, thank you. None of this makes sense. And you're a psychopath. So I'll just stick with what I've got. So that's a huge win too, right? Just that the mind control persuasion didn't work and that people are sticking with their electric vehicles. With their gas-powered vehicles or otherwise, and not going the full technocracy, 15-minute cities lockdown grid. So huge win there. We've talked about it, not hitting the 2030 goals being a huge win as well. And so this unit tacked this on to the end of that one. Cracker Barrel. Everyone cares about Cracker Barrel this week. It's so silly. Cracker Barrel changed their logo, changed their store. Their stocks were going down. People weren't visiting as much, so they brought in people to see like what can we do to make people like Cracker Barrel again. And they kind of reorganized some things, and people went insane. Like people went insane about it. People were like, "Why dare they?" And I get it. Change isn't fun for people, but like no one was going anyway. So I don't even think the people talking about it are people who go to Cracker Barrel. But Cracker Barrel had so much flack from this that they were going on like pure recovery mode. Like they had their people going out on every show they could get on to be like, hey, we're still the same Cracker Barrel. We swear to God, just come eat here, please. We're so sorry we've offended you. You could see it on all of these talk shows, all of these news shows, everything. It's so funny. And then Trump tweets once, or whatever it is, whatever his thing is. He says once, Cracker Barrel, you should go back to your old logo. People liked it. You should treat your customers with respect and give them what they want. And so they literally like 2 hours later went back to their old logo. So they're back to their old logo. They're back to their old logo. And I don't know, is anyone happy? No one's really talking about it, but it is interesting. They did get a lot of free advertisement out of this. So was it manipulated? I don't know. But the thing that I wonder is how much the algorithm had to do with promoting this idea, because it's one of those things where like before social media, before algorithms shoved certain things in your face 62 times until you had to pay attention, even if you didn't care at all. Like before all of that, people would have just said, oh, that new Cracker Barrel logo is stupid, and then never talked about it again, and would have even still eaten there whenever they had the chance to eat at Cracker Barrel. If they like Cracker Barrel, like nothing would have happened at all, because that's what happened every time something else changed in our lives before social media. But now everyone gets to talk about it and it gets to promote it and everybody gets to like go insane about it. So their logo's back. Everybody won. You guys got your logo. I think it's a cool logo. I don't know why you would have changed it, but they're trying to be modern or something. So. And like people thought it was woke for some reason. I don't think it was, because they didn't actually remove the word cracker. And the cracker never referred to white people in this instance anyway. So I don't think it was woke. I think it was just a business change, like just a marketing change. So funny. So that's people are hypersensitive to woke right now. Like, don't go woke, dude. All right. They say there's no evidence that aging or declining populations compromise socioeconomic performance. This was a big worry with the boomers kind of aging out. They're all going to start dying off more and more. And we're going to get the big surge coming up here in the next 10 years or so of just massive reduction in population as the boomers die. And this is the big worry, is that it's going to crash economies and just like devastate because all of this. I don't know. I don't know why you would even think that, actually, but that was the idea. And this is saying recent studies challenge this belief that it actually is just a belief, and there's no evidence that that's what happens when big portions of the population die. So I guess we're cool. I guess we're fine. There's other economic threats, but it's not the boomers dying. So congratulations to all of us. The Trump administration orders several states to remove gender ideology from their sex ed materials. Good. You could ask, why is the school teaching your child about sex in the first place? But even if you like sex ed, you could ask, why would gender ideology have anything to do with sex? Literally, sex ed was meant to be like, here's how a penis and vagina work. Here's how babies are made. Here's what STDs are. Here's how to do it safely if you must do it. The end. Nothing to do with gender ideology. So it makes sense to remove it. It doesn't even really make sense to have it in schools. Technically, you want to get down to it, but there it is. We'll call it a win. Ex-MD Anderson researcher charged with stealing secrets. This is a Chinese agent who came in on a student visa and has been stealing research and projects and materials and Department of Defense and NIH stuff for years. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If we have a threat, it's China. And here is more evidence of that. So we reduced China's access to our schools. I think Trump took it away completely, and then he kindly gave back just a few. So that's how you do it, right? You give people two options. One of them they really don't like, and the other one is at least somewhat acceptable. And then they feel good about the acceptable one because it's better than the really bad one. So it's how it works. He's not dumb. I know a lot of people think he is. He's really not. And there it is. So this person will be being charged. I'm sure they'll be given back to China. I'm nearly sure they'll be given back to China, but we'll see. Oh, breakthrough. University of Michigan's medical center will no longer offer puberty blockers and hormone drugs to minors following pressure from the Trump administration. They're just falling one by one. It's celebrations all around. Many children will be protected. That is fantastic. This is a huge win. Thank God. We've got Frontier, a carbon removal clearinghouse funded by Google, Stripe, Shopify, and others, announcing today, being August 26th, a few days ago, that it was buying 115,211 metric tons of carbon removal credits from geoengineering startup Planetary in a deal worth $31.3 million. Is that a hidden 33? $31.3 million, where most Frontier deals to date have bought carbon from startups. The organization's agreement with Planetary is its first to do so by enhancing ocean alkalinity. So this is crazy. We're at a point in history where these mega corporations that are practically untouchable and becoming more powerful every day can do whatever they want to our planet because they just decided to. They're literally going to dump $31.3 million of antacids into the ocean. I don't know why anyone thinks that's a great idea. The last time we did a geoengineering project that we know of, where they dumped a bunch of stuff into the ocean off the coast of British Columbia, a bunch of species died. It changed the whole ecosystem. It had these really negative effects. And they were like, don't worry, it's totally safe. They're like, safe for what? Safe for you because you don't live in the ocean. Not safe for the anemones and the starfish, the seals and the sea lions, the orcas, you monsters. It's not safe for the ocean. The ocean's doing what it wants to do. It's bigger than you. It's older than you. It's been here forever. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It doesn't need you. So ridiculous, these people. And they can just do it because they decided to. And the science it's supposedly based on is mostly BS. So a bunch of BS lies is causing these mega corporations with unlimited power to do whatever they want to your ocean. It's yours. This is ridiculous. It's the most disturbing thing I've heard. The best thing you can do about this is tell people about it and tell people how ridiculous it is and that it's based on nothing. And that there's no safety protocols involved, and that nobody gets to undo something once it's done. It's the nature of being in a physical space. Ridiculous, tyrannical evil. Raise your consciousness around it. Share it with people when you can. It's the best we got right now until hopefully some people can go after it legally or some other way. And so back to Jeffrey Epstein. House Republican issues new subpoena for Jeffrey Epstein documents. House Oversight Committee led by Comer issued a subpoena to the Epstein estate for unredacted documents, video surveillance, and communications. Again, it's way too late. By now, nothing exists that hasn't been doctored or changed or hidden or redacted or deleted. Like, why are we going at this 15 years later? It's sure. I think they know that it's popular and they want to get reelected. And that's like all there really is to this. It's silly. So like, if you know anything, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. You go, okay, dude. Good luck with that. Oh, God. So that's happening. Trump signs an order aimed at ending cashless bail as he arms National Guard in D.C. So the D.C. thing has gone quite well. Crime is actually down. The locals are happy. It's only white people who don't live in the area that are angry about it. And so cashless bail is now being ended too. So cashless bail allows people to walk free before their trial without exorbitant and often predatory fees. So that's what the left is criticizing this for, that, you know, poor people like can't possibly get out on bail. Like, I'm kind of like, maybe we shouldn't have bail anyway. Like, what is this? Just, you're in trouble. You stay there until we figure it out. I get that. I wouldn't want to be there either. If I ended up there, I'd be happy for bail. I'd be really happy for cashless bail. But I also understand that it's a way that a lot of people who do great harm get back out quickly and do even greater harm. So there is at least got to be a happy medium here. In the meantime, we've got cashless bail ended in DC, and I think that's a good thing. And everybody's really mad that he has, at this same executive order, said something about flag burning. And, you know, it's actually an interesting topic because very obviously flag burning is covered in free speech. And it also seems to be true that the only time this flag burning would be held against people is if they're already engaged in other illegal behavior and for which they're being charged and found guilty of. It's just like an extra fine on top. So that's really interesting too. Like, okay, I don't know if that makes it more or less acceptable, honestly, to like legally. You're actually just getting in trouble for this thing, but here's another fine. So if you just were burning a flag and standing there doing nothing wrong on your own property, this wouldn't come into play. You wouldn't be affected. But if you're out like, you know, I don't know, smashing windows in and burning buildings down and you burn a flag, then you would, right? So pretty weird. There's just like walking some tightrope here that it's clearly going to get overturned. It's otherwise very unconstitutional. Interesting way of using it. ICE emails show the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Uganda could happen this week. It didn't. I'll say that his lawyers, you know, got involved and he's got another sort of appeal or whatever, so he's staying here for now. But I was like, are they trying to send him to Uganda? Really? I thought this was a joke. And then I read it. It's like, no, they're actually deporting people to Uganda. They made a deal with Uganda. And Uganda said, yeah, you can deport people here. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they're getting paid for it or something, right? They have to be. But what a twist. Imagine coming to the United States from somewhere, telling them, oh, yeah, my country, it's so bad, I can't go back to it. No matter which one you're talking about. Any, you know, Central American country or wherever you're coming from. Oh, it's so bad, I can't go back. And so then you get this, you know, kind of refugee temporary status. And then it's found that you're breaking the law. So then you're deported, but you said you couldn't go back to your country. So we have to send you to Uganda. Like, what a twist. I'm not even mad. I think it's a genius deterrent. Nobody wants that. So it kind of might force people to be a little bit more honest. Like, can you go back to your country safely? Because if so, you probably want to go back there instead of Uganda. I'm just guessing. Whether you love Uganda or not, like not being your home country, really like separated by an ocean from anywhere you've ever been, probably not your choice. Probably going to make you be a little bit more honest about where you can and can't go safely. So pretty interesting, this twist. And the ticking time bomb alarming Democrats is the 2030 reapportionment in the Electoral College. Red states gain Electoral College seats, blue states lose them. The blue wall is gone. So way more Electoral College votes in these red states coming up. And I guess it's the Democrats are feeling like it's impossible for them to ever win another election. I think they already felt that way, and that's why they stole so many of them. But maybe wrong. Republicans have stolen them too. Just saying. German wind developers to scrap controversial China turbine order. Germany has realized that China. So stupid it has taken this long for people to realize very simple things. They're realizing that China has put lots of spyware, we'll say, and malware into these things. They've done this, by the way, everywhere with everything they make. So you have a Chinese phone, then you have spyware, Chinese spyware on your body right now, in your person right now. If your government has Chinese hardware running their data, their anything, then China has all that. If China's making your windmills, then China's got spyware in there. This is how China operates. It always has been true. That has never not been true. So everybody should just know that. Feel like I go insane sometimes because I don't think I'm that brilliant of a person, and everyone should know this. Everyone should know this. So Germany just realized this, so they're not going to have these wind turbines anymore. Also, they're bad for the environment. They're horrible for the environment. China's probably sticking horrible materials in there. Then we're burying them underground, and that's probably seeping into our water. It would be true even if China wasn't making them worse than they need to be, but they probably are. And they're really bad for whales when they're offshore. They're really bad for birds when they're onshore. They're really bad for ecosystems all the way around, from birth to death, all the way around. Horrible ideas. Don't even generate electricity well. Not worth. They take more energy to make them and keep them going than they will ever produce in their lives. This is the silliest game we're playing. Also, a $10 billion wind farm has been planned off Australia's coast and has been scrapped. Good. Thank God for all the sea life that gets to live in peace now, and all the saved waste we won't have to have on Earth because of this, and also the Chinese infiltration that we won't have because of it. Great win for all of us, both of those stories. Africa said they want everyone to redraw the world map to, quote, show the greatness of Africa. This would only make sense if you don't understand that every map is a projection, and a projection can be drawn hundreds of different ways. And all you have to do is look up map projections, and you can see the hundreds and hundreds of map projections that exist. And you can realize that any human at any point can choose any of those projections for any reason. And they're just as accurate as any other projection, with just as many pros and cons. Each map projection has pros and cons. We learned this in third grade, guys. We were like 11 years old when we learned this. This is all knowledge for you coming back to the surface here. And so I guess Africa doesn't understand map projections and wants everyone to pick one projection that they like best for the whole world to use. And they're going to always use that, even though other projections have applications which they're needed for, which is why we have so many projections. Again, I feel like I'm going insane. Like, this is the stupidest thing I've heard. Forever. It's just so stupid. It's just so, like it is low intelligence to say something like this out loud, to make it a continent-wide push and then to get it published around the world. How many stupid people had to be stupid to make this happen? Just get one smart person just anywhere in that chain to just break the stupidity, and you've won. So stupid. Okay. Protests have erupted at migrant hotels in the UK. This is spread, actually. This is erupted a while ago, but it is spreading, which is great. The UK should absolutely take control of their country and keep themselves safe, so we can celebrate their ability to step up and do so. The Daily Mail owner calls for a crackdown on Google AI after their traffic tanks. Daily Mail lost 89% of their traffic. Daily Mail's pretty big, and they lost 89%. Imagine you're plugging along, you're getting more and more people each day, and then you drop 90%. Oh, wait, that's happened to me 10 times. Okay, but imagine that you have money and power and status and clout, and that happens to you. That's crazy. So I'm actually really happy that this happened to them, because now they're going after Google and Google's AI and some of these different algorithmic things to prove monetary harm, so that there has to be something done about it, which might potentially, in the farthest reaches of our hopes, reach down to people like me who are constantly stifled. So possible big win. Really clear though. So if people are ever like, that's a conspiracy theory, you could just like point to this very legitimized in their view, example of this happening. What happens to the big guys, the little guys like us feel hopeful. So possible win. Football and travel bans for criminals under tougher sentences. The UK government is set to overhaul sentencing, granting judges new powers to impose bans on offenders, aiming to strengthen community punishments as an alternative to prison terms. Sounds like a ridiculous plan to me. Literally, they're saying they're going to not let you go to football games, concerts, not let you drive, not let you travel abroad, and judges will have the authority to do this. That's really insane, tyrannical. I'd rather go to prison than have you have that much control over any aspect of my life, where I get to go and when, right? I mean, outside of prison, it just has all kinds of problems. Like it's basically social credit scoring, which China's been using for some time, but applied in a different way, a little bit more open. At least you're being punished in this way, and it's obvious and out there. Everyone can see, but still not good. Let's keep it simple. Simple. Here's a crime. Here's the response. Simple. Okay. In Colorado, where they've enacted the Kelly Loving Act, enhancing work protections, which is actually meant to say that it enhances the ability of people who use pronouns differently than we've used them for our entire lives to force you to use those pronouns as they dictate to you in the moment. And if you don't do that, you will be fined or put out of business. And so this is true both for if you have employees and also for your people who you are servicing, your clients or otherwise. So that's Colorado. That means anybody who does any business in Colorado, including people who have businesses elsewhere but serve someone from Colorado too. So we'll see where this goes. I would argue that free speech says that you can't tell me I have to say a certain word to person at any time. And so I would expect this to be challenged, and we'll see what happens. I will definitely not speak differently to anyone than I intend to speak to them. And if I am compelled by law to do otherwise, I won't be talking to that person at all. So in my opinion, this harms the people it's meant to protect. If they're going to choose to try to get services, I will just conveniently not be available to that person. So that's that. Americans spent less on plant-based foods in 2024. Yeah, good. They're not saying people ate less vegetables. They're saying people spent less on fake meat. So just to be really clear, that's what they mean by, in this case, by plant-based foods. And so good. They're all horrible. They're all seed oils and soy-based and garbage. And so, yeah. Also, people are eating more meat and eating more animal products. So that's also another win. Again, we're moving away from plant oils into animal oils. It's much healthier for your body. And so this is great. More of all of that. All around a win. We'll celebrate that. In New York, Zorhan Mamdani failed at a bench press while trying to show off at a men's day. It seemed like a really weak bench press too. So you have to be really weak to not do this bench press. I mean, like I'm talking to people who like don't even work out. And they're like, of course I could do that. So I'm not sure why this happened. So yeah, I don't know. It seems silly to me. I don't care if he can bench press or not. I think it's really stupid to go try if you don't know you can do it. Why are you doing this in public if you're not sure you can do it? It's not the time. But some people said it's actually his brand and this was a publicity stunt and that it worked because his base doesn't respect strength and would look at him as a toxic male if he succeeded. So I was like, that's actually the best take I can come up with, because I think otherwise you're really silly to go like try to bench press when you're not sure if you can. It's just once. You just bench press once. And it's funny too, it caused the left to do this whole silly thing where they're like, here's our guy, and it's him failing. And then they're like, here's their guy, and it's Pete Hegseth seeming to fail, but it was after his like 35th pull-up or something. I'm like, you can't even do one pull-up. He did like a bunch. This guy can't even do one bench press. I don't know. There's no comparison there. But they love their lies. So we talked about this on day 0, so I'm just going to direct you to last week's show, but if you want to see the whole thing. But this is a fed up Californian on Instagram, and this is an reel in which this guy goes into this park that did not burn down and had no fire damage, in which fire relief funds were used to redesign the park with a fire theme in which there are cop sirens, cop talking on their, broadcasting like, all cops, all broadcast, whatever, like go to this place, like that sound. You can press a button and hear that. You can hear sirens. There's fire trucks everywhere. And this guy's like, so you're triggering all these children who just went through this traumatic event, and you're doing it with funds that should have been used to rebuild the burned down areas that still aren't rebuilt, and this place wasn't burnt down. Like everything about this is so dark and twisted and psychopathic and deeply, deeply misuse of public funds as well, right? So something that legally perhaps could be done about this, but just insane. This is the type of thing, like, I don't care who you are, left, right, center, outside of the spectrum, like blue, red, like whatever you are, like this should concern you. This should disturb you. This should wake you up a little and make you go like, who are these people and what is their actual goal? Because it's not to help you. Not to help you. So, we're not going to talk that. Oh, the Nord Stream pipeline person's been arrested. Like, yeah, right. Okay, dude. They're like 4 years later, they're like, we figured out it was Ukraine. And you're like, oh, you just figured that out? Like, what? This is the same thing as not realizing that China is after you. Like, so obvious. Cambodian monks are supporting President Trump's Nobel Peace Prize. And it's genuine. And they're like, thank you for causing peace in Cambodia. And I love this. I love it because people just hate him so much. They hate him from every angle. And he does some really good things in the world. And it's amazing to me. Actually, I didn't want to like any part of him. And instead, I like a lot of the parts of him. And don't like others. And it's just fascinating. So these Cambodian monks are like, yeah, Donald Trump is a peacemaker. He deserves the prize. This is cool. I like it. I like them. I call this a win. You can get the entire Maxwell interview with redactions of victim names and other identifying information removed. You can read them, I think, and listen to them. Yep, you can listen to them. So this is all here on the Justice Department website if you want to comb through it. People have found a bunch of things in there, and you can find people who are already analyzing this, reporting on it, and sharing it. So you might just go to them instead. But if you want to do it yourself, here it is. So people are like, where's the stuff? Where's the Epstein stuff? Where's the transparency? But then something like this happens and no one says anything. So I'm like, oh, you're all just a bunch of whiny brats. Here's all your stuff. It's not everything, but it's like something. You asked for it. So like, aren't you going to mention that it exists? Maybe? No? All right. Those are the people I don't trust, by the way. The Antichrist, a 4-part lecture series. This is from probably the Antichrist. This is coming from Peter Thiel. So the literally I know I say this word so much, it's going to lose all meaning, but like actually psychopath Peter Thiel, who's talked about that he doesn't care if humanity exists or not, which I get of the highest perspective. Like it doesn't matter, but he's coming from a darker place than I am. I'm coming from a bright place. But you can get a ticket to this event. This is a 4-part lecture series by him starting on Monday, September 15th. It starts the day after my heart-centered healer course. So wild. At the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, it's sold out, but I'm pretty sure they're going to record it and release it or live stream it. And so, if you really want to go, I bet you can still get your access. I'm definitely going to find a way to watch this at some point. So I'm going to keep this over in my pocket for a rainy day, but that's happening. 4chan will refuse to pay daily online safety fines. Good for them. They shouldn't have to. This is a European Union thing, and they're saying, you owe us this. And they're like, no, which is what I would say too. Good job, 4chan. Stay free. Pentagon is asking their civilian staff to volunteer to aid in ICE deportations. They're also recruiting. You could become an ICE agent if you want. They're paying pretty well, it sounds like. And so you could hate ICE or you could join ICE. You choose. Many other options in between, but they're recruiting heavily, including at the civilian people at the Pentagon. Pentagon's such a weird place. Look at the shape of it. Oh, Kash Patel tweets that no one is above the law after they take the war criminal. Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name at this moment. Bolton? John? Anyway, this makes the story pointless. I'm sorry. Oh, maybe they'll say it here. They raided him. He's a war hawk. Yeah, I don't know. They're not going to say his name. Bolton, John Bolton. There we go. Someone screamed it loud enough through the ether that I heard it. So they raided him and they got him. He's been a war hawk forever, many administrations deep, and war criminal. And so they raided him, which is great. Is it warfare? Is it lawfare? Is it partisan? Probably, but it's still good. We'll still celebrate the win. And Kash Patel said, no one's above the law. Hopefully that's true. Oh, we already talked about that. The U.S. has suspended issuing work visas for commercial truck drivers. They've actually suspended issuing work visas for foreign drivers after foreign drivers has caused the death of enough people now that they're concerned, especially looking into those foreign drivers who have caused these deaths, that they couldn't even pass the test and don't speak English. But got somehow awarded anyway. There's apparently a shortage of 60,000 drivers nationwide. If that's true, there's 60,000 people here that will gladly be trained and be able to actually pass that test and who speak English and who need a job. So, you don't really have a problem. You just have a problem if you're trying to import cheap labor for some reason and endanger people while doing it. So I hope they actually improve the safety mechanisms in place and that people stop dying at the hands of imported workers who don't know how to drive and don't speak English. That'd be great. So we'll call it a win. A Supreme Court lets Trump administration cut $783 million of research funding in an anti-DEI push. So that has gone through. Those activist judges always are trying to block this, and then it always ends up going through. So here's another win if you're behind the, getting rid of DEI and all of this excess bloat. So we'll call that a win. And we'll end here with Trump administration reviewing all 55 million people with U.S. visas for potential deportable violations, meaning those people will be deported if they have broken any of the rules, which is fine. If you go somewhere and you're a guest and then you also break the rules and make their lives harder, you deserve to be sent home. That's true for every country all over the place. It's true for your neighbor's house. It's just true. It's just the way you treat being a guest somewhere. And if you really are unsafe where you came from, then you would probably work really hard to not break any rules and to be really grateful and to adopt and celebrate the culture that gave you a second chance. That would be what you would do if you were being an honest person of upright stature. And so hopefully we all can be more and more honest, more and more upright, and remember how much we are constantly winning because we keep our eyes open. We see reality. We see through the deceit. We hold the light in our hearts despite how much the darkness tries to pull it down. And we celebrate the fact that we exist here with one another still, even now and into the future. And until we know it even more deeply, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first.
Screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones, a holly suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempt to mental robbery. rock with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.